Welcome back everyone to the Libgdx development tutorials. In today's video we'll be covering viewports. Let's get started. First thing first, what is a viewport? Viewports are used to adjust your application screen size to a virtual width and height. In reference to Libgdx, Libgdx provides 5 different types of viewports, starting with stretch viewport. You can think of a stretch viewport as the viewport always stretches to the scene no matter what the virtual size. Here's an example of showing one. We initialize a stretch viewport with the graphics width and height, and then pass in the camera as a third parameter. Then after, in the resize method, we update the width and height with the update method provided by the viewport class. The results can be seen here. As we can see when we resize the window, we can see that the image gets kind of stretched. This is why they call it the stretch viewport. The second viewport is the fit viewport. The fit viewport will fit the virtual size of the screen. If the application gets resized, it will create back borders if needed. Here's an example of the fit viewport. Again, just like the stretch viewport, we initialize it with the graphics width and the graphics height, and then the camera as a third parameter. Then we update it in the resize method to make sure that it gets the correct resizement using the width and height. The results are seen here. So whenever we resize the window, back borders will be created to the image, as you can see here. This is the definition of the fit viewport. The third viewport type is the fill viewport. The fill viewport fills the whole screen but keeps the same aspect ratio. For example, we create a new instance of the fill viewport with the graphics width and height and camera for the third parameter, and then we resize it in the resize method. The example shown here is a little bit different than the previous. If we try to resize the window, we can see that the image grows bigger in size. This is because the fill viewport is trying to fill the entire screen with the same image. The fourth viewport type is called the screen viewport. The screen viewport will always match the virtual screen size. This includes resizing as well. For example, again in the create method we create a new instance of the screen viewport, but instead of passing the width and height we pass the camera, and then we update in the resize method. So we can see by this example, when we resize the window, we can see the image start to grow larger as it is trying to fill the screen, same as like the fill viewport, but it is more stretching towards the left and the right. Last viewport is called the extend viewport. The extend viewport will always keep the world aspect ratio. When setting the width and height, it will be scaled to match the virtual screen, but still keeping the width and height. Here's a short example of the extend viewport. First we create a new instance inside the create method and give it the width and height and passing the camera as the third parameter, and again we resize it to update the width and height. Here's an example. Just as the screen viewport, it keeps the world aspect ratio, but this time it's consistently scaling to the right size to what the dimensions that we entered. This can be very useful for a lot of games, and personally I like to use the extend viewport for my applications. Alright, that wraps everything up for today's video for viewports. I hope you understand something more about viewports and learned something new. Have a good one everyone.